Hi there. As promised a while ago, we are starting our interview series, and I'm kicking it off with a very old friend, known him for over 50 years, Patrick Phillips. Paddy joined our karate group way back in the early days. I think we're still doing Goju Kai at the time. We then went into the Okinawan Goju, and Paddy received a high black belt grade in that, trained with many renowned instructors, including Higuana Sensei, and was also a very keen competitor in both kumite and kata. And he also was very interested in the traditional weapons, particularly the nunchaku. He also worked on the nightclub doors in Liverpool with us, and so he worked on doors with Terry O'Neill and Gary Spires. So it had quite an opportunity to test his skills. He also worked on close protection teams with us, and did quite a bit of that kind of work as well. He joined the fire service and became quite a senior commander in that, and got into very many aspects of that, went on many specialized courses and so on, and his stories of that time are fascinating to listen to. Then he became interested in treating sports injuries and treating injuries in general, and health and fitness maintenance, and he became an osteopath, and he used osteopathy, acupuncture and other types of treatment for many years, several decades, in his very successful practice in Prescott. And he treated many types of people, from massive power lifters through to military personnel, through to female equestrian competitors. And one of the people he treated was me. And I can quite frankly say that without Paddy, I wouldn't be able to be training today. He sorted out 2 shoulder injuries, wrist injury and an elbow injury for me over the years. Another facet that he got interested in was neural-based training, NLP and other types of mechanism for treating the whole personality. And he was able to do this with Marcus. He met Marcus Wynn in '97 when he came over, and he also pursued it himself and became a master practitioner of NLP. And one of the things that was unique about his practice was people would come in with a bad back or something like that, and before the end of the session he would have sorted out other problems based on the more of the mental side for them. So as they left, they would have a complete tune-up of all aspects, and he would have sorted out the pain in the back as well. So he has treated people with things like PTSD and all sorts of problems. Now, he has to maintain client confidentiality, but I know a lot of the people he's treated, and they have personally spoken to me about the treatments. So I know just how effective they've been, and as I say, including myself. So an awful lot to go through. We're going to do it in several phases. I'll be interviewing Paddy over the course of probably several months, and there's a lot we can get into. If you have any questions or comments, email them to me, and we'll include them. Just a technical point. I was using a new program to process the videos, and unfortunately the default was set for 5 minutes. So when I interviewed Paddy, it was cutting out every 5 minutes. So there's a little bit of continuity jerkiness on the interview, unfortunately, but the actual content, I think you will agree, is terrific. So I'd like to introduce you to my good friend Patrick Phillips. Okay, I'm here with Paddy, having our customary bulletproof coffee, which he introduced me to, and we're going to start the first of what I hope is going to be a continuing interview series with Patrick Phillips. And a while ago he told me a story about him going to Japan, and I really want to dive into the details of that a bit more, just for my own interest, but I'm sure you'll also be interested in it. So Paddy, how did you get the gig to go to Japan?
Yeah, almost by accident at the last moment. One of the guys had to pull out at the last minute, and there was a spare seat. The guy who I was treating became friends. Matty Pritchard was one of the Aikido coaches.
And this is the British Aikido team. Yeah.
It is, but I mean, most of the Aikido I'd been exposed to up until then was Wishiba Aikido.
Terry
Ezra, and the article I did for Fighting Arts, the Confessions of a Seal Inspector, because I kept ending up looking at the seal.
And this is Tamiki, is it?
Yes, Okay. So I get approached as a competitive form of Aikido, which is Tamiki, where they defend themselves against the knife, and that's how they score points and yada yada. So so Matty just approaches me. He says, there's a spare seat on the plane. Do you fancy going to Japan, Osaka, for the World Championships? And I went, so I have time to think about that. I said, yeah. And so that's kind of what we got there. When we landed, I treated the guys from the northwest, the guys from like Widnes, Manchester, the people who it was, feasible to travel, to come and see me. And so and we obviously travelled out together and sort of stayed in the same place and things like that. So when we land in Osaka, there's they go training in the Hombu dojo, the sort of head dojo with their chief guy Narayama sensei, and just why they get rid of their time lagging things like this, So all that kind of happens, and there's people coming in from different parts of the country by now, flying in from different airports, and staying in different places. So the only time they got together was in the dojo, a few hours training, whatever, and then sort of they'd all peel out, go their own ways. It wasn't really till we got to where the competition was being held, which was Mashima Sports Island, which I think was made for the Olympics. And it was just fantastic, because you go onto that, what it's like in Japan. It's like being in a different world anyway. But you go onto Mishima Sports Island, it's like being on a different world, in a different world, It's purely there for training. And bearing in mind, I had to check when this was. It was 2001. It was so advanced. It was so far ahead. The facilities, even stupid things like, the toilets, were just like What's all this? Just unbelievably like efficient and things like this, So we're settled there now. We're there for 3 days, right? And what happened was that I was sharing a nice sort of log cabin on a man-made lake with cabins set out around it, and I was sharing it with Steve, who was the team captain, and another couple of the fighters who are good lads, So we're there. We've been in Osaka for a while, and now we're on Mishima Sports Island, and Steve was just pacing around, like something's on his mind, obviously, and okay, mate, anything I can help you with? And he went, oh, you wouldn't know about this. We've had some issues really with the team. Yep.
Yeah, so team issues.
Yeah, so Steve's pacing around and hey, what's up, mate? And he said, oh, we've just had some issues. The World Championship, I found out that a bit later, the World Championships every 2 years. And they hadn't won a medal for 6 years. It was kind of causing a problem. So Steve had done some stuff with a psychologist at Manchester University. Pretty sure he said that. And it was all basic stuff. Stay inside your own head, wearing headsets and things like this.
The old shower curtains. And
it was that kind of level of advice. So I said to him, "What's your intention to do about it?" And now, by coincidence, this is synchronicity. Another good mate of mine, Mark Glynn, tremendous guy. He's the guy we went to New Zealand to Gary Spires, which that's another story. Mark and I did the advanced trip to Oz and met the New Zealand consulate, Wayne Coyote and things like this, and then went to meet the body coming in New Zealand. As I say, another story, but that's Mark. One of Gary's top guys,
Yeah.
Big unit, and so. Why did Mark come in?
You were working on Steve's
Oh, right, yeah. It's because
2 years.
Mark had asked me to do a team building thing for his company. Been out my comfort zone, that, but Mark was a good guy, so I put the research in, did it, went well. And then it was only like a couple of weeks later, I found myself in Japan. Steve's got an issue, and I went, well, I've been doing some of that stuff recently. I'll throw a few ideas in that hat, which is what I did, just a few ideas. And he went, don't know any of that, so I haven't covered any of that. Okay. Then the question came, will you do it? So I sort of parachuted into that one, wasn't expecting it, but I said, yeah. And here's my reasoning why I'll do it. I said, with all due respect, if there's problems in the team and you're the team captain, you're part of the problem. I said, and it's very hard to be part of the problem and part of the solution. I said, because, you're an instructor, you're from the Northwest and all this, if there's this North-South divide, there's this, my sense is better than your sense stuff going on. So I said, I'm not an Aikido guy, I'm a karate guy. I said, so I'm similar but not the same, and I'm not part of the problem, which hopefully means I might be able to be part of your solution. So we did that. So how long have I got to prepare for it? He said about half an hour. Just 10.
No rush.
The top 10 fighters are on the way up here.
Yeah.
And I was going to do like a talk with them and things like this, okay. So the top 10 guys come in and we all just sort of sit round in a circle. And I said, and Steve explained what was going on. I said, you all okay with that, couple mission? Yeah, that's fine. And then we sort of started the process of getting all the past stuff out. So I said, if any one of you guys has got a problem with any one of the other guys in this room, I said, now's the time to either voice it, and I said, because chances are most of it will be in your imagination, you know, or you've blown it up. I said, so let's get it out now, and look for a solution. Or, if not, promise yourself you'll do it in the next 24 hours. If you don't do it, walk away from it. Don't exist anywhere in your head. Yeah? Okay. So he did that. There was sort of one or two things easily sorted out, nothing of any merit, you know. And so it went. Once we'd sort of, and everybody had to agree with that. You all agree that if you don't sort it within 24 hours, you're just going to let it go. And they went, yeah, okay. So it was that kind of. So one of the, and possibly the main fighter, who was there, one of the 10 who was there, he went, that kind of makes more sense than anything we've heard, and you know, so far. He said, and I'm up for it. He said, but I've got a problem. He said, after all of this time of us not getting on, if I step up to the mark, it's just not there anymore. You know, I don't feel it. You know, it's just not there anymore. Okay. Up you get. So we stand him up and I take him through an NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which Marcus Wynn, Special Forces in ZUCU, you introduced to me.
I'm sure it's something we'll be covering in a separate
meeting. Marcus is another story. So
you influence so many people.
Oh, what? Yeah. So I get him up and I do a technique called Circle of Excellence to make him go inside, brings back his memory of his, you know, his best fight, his peak state, you know, the earliest one, when he still felt the juices flowing, you know, and then to bring that on, how do you know where that feeling is and things like this. I made it like a rich internal environment, you know, it had to be feelings, colours, sounds, bring the smells of the competition area and things like this, you know, and then give the whole thing a colour, which was red, and then pop it in a circle on the floor, and then step into it and let the colour wash over you, you know, and then when we get to your peak state, we anchor it with some sort of a thing. A lot of people say, you know, finger. On this occasion, you can't do that when you're up to fight, you know. And let me see you. You can't be doing that, you know. So I gave him the trigger of just pulling his big toe down into the mat, which is what you want to do when you're getting ready to, you know. So I gave him that as a trigger. Step out the circle, change state, you know, just give him a distracting question, you know. What colour's your front door? Things like this, you know. Take his mind away, get him back in the circle, do a few reps. Tie this kinetic sort of trigger going, and give yourself a word as well. You know, one I used to use was like yes, was the way in which you said it. You know, and my trigger was snapping my belt when I got changed from one uniform to another. Yes, and then change the state. So he did that, and anything like that needs practice. What I found out, guys approached me, the guys that were in the room approached me over the next few days, and they went, my colour was gold. My thing was this, they were all doing it with him, sort of, and witnessing it and seeing the physiological changes in him, you know, so they were all, so that kind of went well. So the next question came was, like, Steve, should we get another 10 up? I said, nope, not from now on. I said, there's no such thing as working in 10s, we all get together. We get together before we go down to the training area.
How big was the squad?
Oh, you got me there. The fighting.
Quite big,
well, there was a fair contingent there, and that kind of leads into where I was going next when I said we'll all meet up in the morning, right? No one sort of wanders down to the training area, you know. We'll all meet up by the main accommodation where the bulk of the students were staying. You know, we were just lucky that we got this lakeside thing, you know. And so we all met up then. And because there were people who come from different parts of the country, you didn't know each other, you know. And their tendency was to look after their own, you know, and things like that. So I ran that by them. I said, from now on, it's the British team. At home, you're competing against each other. Now you're competing with each other.
Yeah.
I said, it's a different mentality. I said, you've got to know the people you don't know. So I had a water bottle with me. And I gave it to him and said, throw it to someone who you don't know and they'll tell you the name. So it went round a few times. So they kind of got to know their name, where they were from, things like that. Threw it back and I said, if there's anyone you can remember the name, throw it to them again and you say their name. It's just that level of simplicity. And I went, here's the way it works. I said, you don't just, everybody here's got a job, got a function. This leads into the question you just asked. I said, there's the core of the ones who've come as the British team, you know. There's ones who have just come on because they wanted to train at the Hombu Dojo with Mariana Sensei and things like this. And then there's some friends, family come to support and to be at the World Championships, things like that. So there was a tidy group there. And they all had different, you know, reasons for being there. So I said to them, but every one of you has got a job. And I said, for example, if you just go and support the area where someone from your club, your area is fighting, it's only going to be a couple of you. If you all get together because it's a GB guy, I said, all of a sudden, you know, it's more impressive, it builds the energy. Okay, so that was it. And then I said, even if you're not fighting, not involved, things like that, you can give them a countdown, like 30 seconds to go, hold on to the point. And then when they come off the area, I said, they don't have to be from your place to go up and go, no injuries, you're okay, and things, just to check up on each other and do things like that. Everybody had a job. You know, it's like the story of the caretaker at NASA. You know, he's brushing up and the president or something said, what's your job? He said, I'm here to put a man on the moon. You know, it's kind of level. Everyone's got a job, you know. And I'm not pretending there wasn't a few issues though. So we did that. We all meet, I said, and then we walk down together, you know. Right, we walk down in a group, you know. Then we go in, everybody gets their place. So just that walking down and talking to each other differently and things like that was good. You know, if you're walking in the same direction as someone, there's much more simpatico there, you know. So we get there to the training area, and what I did was I asked them when they do the warm-ups not to do them randomly, but to actually, when they form a circle and face inwards, okay, to keep the energy within their circle, you know, keep the distractions outside. And then it became kind of us and them as the British team. You know, they went all over the place, you know. And then they did that. By the third day, every country was doing it, by the way.
Nice one.
So they did the warm-ups and all that was was pretty good. They trained together, and two things that stuck in my mind jumping towards the end. One was they won 9 medals, by the way. Couple of golds, couple of silvers, a few bronzes.
Outstanding.
Yeah, no,
that's the proof of the pudding, isn't it?
They took it on, and the only reason that's the proof of the pudding is it's what gets counted gets done. It was a number, you know. Qualified. It was a number, you know.
And they hadn't won anything for several years.
No. And then the other thing was someone came up and said to me, "This is the first year there hasn't been a fight at the sayonara party." So it was quite funny. So yeah, that was kind of how it went through, how it ended. And they bought me a very nice thing, you know, which you know, like a thank you thing, and all the teams signed it, you know, and it's all, which I'm going to say, I'll give it to you later, you can do what you want with it, you know,
included in
certain
somehow
sections of
in
it,
this.
yeah. Well, it's like, you know, turning a bunch of individuals into, you know, and things like that, you know, parts of this medal go and all this kind of stuff, you know.
What I thought was interesting when you first told me about it was that you went out there to kind of look after them physically, sports injuries and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And ended up
that was purely,
doing the mental and the motivational stuff, which turned out to be more important, turned out to be the ingredient they needed.
Well, again, on the there's a kanji thing that they bought me, and then they all wrote on the back, you know, all this kind of thing. I never knew what the kanji meant. And for years, people used to say to me, "But what's that mean?" And that's all, half rice, half chips. I don't know. Then I had a guy came in.
Cameras fixed here. So one of the things I wanted to...
But I did find out what it meant.
Oh, so, yeah, sorry.
Right, which was the kanji. This guy with his friend in Japan, he took a picture, sent it. And I've got the literal Japanese translation written on the back as well. But it means question everything. And that's what I said to them. But I added, I said question everything.
Yeah.
Don't settle, question everything, including me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
they took it to heart. So an Aikido team and karate team, very, very similar in the way it's individual performance. Whereas you got a rugby team is everyone working together.
Yeah.
So it's a different dynamic, isn't it? I was just wondering,
yeah.
You mentioned you used NLP, neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah.
Did you have any influence from your time in the fire brigade, which is very much a team, or on bodyguard teams, where everyone's got to work as a team?
Well, yeah, I mean, got a big influence off you and Marcus with the, as I say, he started the ball rolling by telling me about, he came home, the only book I've ever seen you writing was Unlimited Power.
Unlimited Power, yeah.
We
I had to buy my own copy because I borrowed it. And I said, I've got to make so many notes, I bought my own copy.
Right. Well, I lent my copy to Mick, good mate of mine. But that was only, was that 20 years ago? I haven't got it back yet. But,
slow reader.
But the one that, his crayons ran out. The one thing he did was, I was due to go down and train with Anthony Robbins. Unlimited Power, something, weekend. And we did 2 firewalks together. One of them was with Tommy Mack.
Yeah.
Who, one of the funniest guys.
Yeah. He's the guy who got Terry onto the Cavern Club and started Terry's career.
Just incredible. When Mick had only read, because I'd been on his case, get this book, and he didn't, so I have mine. And then within about 4 days, he used to run the paintball, well, he might still have it, paintball zone. He was like one of the first guys to open paintball and things like this. He run a paintball zone in Kirby. And he just got the lads to cover all the work, prepare all the guns, organise us. They were all 4 para-TAs, right, so they knew what they were doing anyway. And then Mick said, I'm coming with you. And we came down and ended up doing a couple of firewalks and things like that. And he still says that book and that weekend changed his life, really. Because he's done extremely well, Mick. But he works too hard, That's me telling him off.
Yeah. As I say, we'll go right into neural-based training on a future interview. I just want to finish, Paddy, with your impressions of Japan. Anything else you took away from your trip? And it was probably something you'd wanted to do all your life, like I did.
I always thought that I got away with it because You went to Japan to train with the Iguana Sensei, didn't you? You were there 6 months? No?
6 months.
6 months, yeah. So while you were there, I ran the club.
Yep.
Okay. And when you came
Very
back,
successfully, I may add.
when you came back, the club was shocking. You went, Paddy, what have you done? And I went, I didn't do anything. Bruce Lee did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 1973, the Bruce Lee boom.
Yeah. So
You couldn't buy a gi.
No. But once they got the reality of standing in a horse stance for 20 minutes with 500 punches, I got rid of a lot of the.
But Japan.
So Japan, I really I loved the culture and the gentleness and the politeness of the people. And going to the Sento, you know, the baths.
It was great after training.
I mean, there again, they had everything there. The steam, the cold things, and they had a thing called I recognise it as a Faradic bath, right? There's a particular type of current that runs through the water. Okay. Yeah, Faradic bath. I used to use it for. You could put muscle stimulators. You know, the ones that people think it's going to do your abs. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You could put them in a tray of water, pop your feet on, and you get stimulation. You know, for like dropped arches and things like this. You know. And it was quite good for certain things, you know. Well, there was a full bath that was like that in the centre, and I'd been around everything. I wanted to experience everything. So I get in this bath, and you get in, your calves start to tingle and prickle, you know, the way it does. Yeah. You know, and there's like stimulation. So I recognised it from previous things. And it was great until I tried to sit down. Because as soon as I sat down, my hands touched the water, my glutes contract, I popped up like a toaster. So I'm trying to... that's probably more accurate. So I'm trying to get through, and there's only one way to do this. I just dropped through it. And it was fantastic. And I do remember thinking, you know, this would come out great in Liverpool. It's such a martial arts thing, and they would appreciate all of the aspects of what was in the centre. So I love that, and just the walk down to get to the centre. Particularly remember a couple of yakuza stood on the street corner and things like that. You know, covered in tats and things like this. You know, just moody. In fact, that was the thing, moody. You know,
the one I used to go to regularly had a little garden. A walled garden, and you used to dry yourself there. And there was plants and stuff. You could smell the plants. The moon was there, and it was a very humid place. And it was lovely. I thought it was. So there's a few cultural things we actually dropped in accidentally. But there's massive festival parade that was gone on. Sky Television there and everything, and we just randomly dropped on it by accident. We were on a day out at this place to look at some of the monasteries with giant doors and things like this, you know. And we were stood there, and it was like a history of Japan, you know, as it went through the years and a few little things. So it was a great visit. I used to enjoy on a Sunday when it was a free day, Sunday afternoon, just walking around. You know,
it was bizarre because you couldn't tip them, could you?
No.
We were in the restaurant, and it was just great. And you know, we left them a tip as we kind of do, you know, and come chasing after us. We go, no, someone's hand, things like that. We go, for you getting, or two, you know. Oh, it's closer.
Great. That was fantastic, Pat. Fantastic first one. And thanks for the bulletproof.
Your own cup.
My own cup. And,
I haven't even got that.
To be continued.
Yeah. Good.